The movie opens up showing us a girl who's named as Rose. She wears eyesight glasses and has many marks on her face. And she is not more attractive. She has also lack of confidence. Because of her thought that she is not attractive. And people used to make fun of her. Welcome to Review Recapped. Appreciate our efforts by subscribing and turning on the notifications please. Spoilers ahead. Enjoy. Rose is a fashion designer, and she designed really charming outfits. In the next scene we see that one day, she is going to her office, but gets late due to some difficulty. Reaching at office, her office manager begins to shout at her. Is this the time to come office? He says to her, look at your face. You design the outfits like your face. Hearing it, all standing workers begin to laugh. There is a girl who keeps silent. She was model girl and the best friend of Rose. She had affection for Rose. It is the lunchtime now. Rose is taking her lunch. Then a boy named Brad approaches her. He asks her, will you accompany me to the party? Hearing it, Rose is conflicted. But her best friend says, it is good opportunity. You must wear the fantastic dress. You must accompany him. Now it is seen that Rose gets ready, and she goes to that party along with Brad. Going to the lavatory, Rose hears two talking girls. Who were talking maliciously about Rose. They were also gossiping that Brad may not have taken Rose here, he brought her here on the insistence of Rose's best friend. Being grieved, Rose goes to her friend. She asks her, is it true? That you insisted Brad to accompany me? Her friend tells, yeah. It is truth. You don't go anywhere. Don't take me wrong. Rose leaves from there because of being sad. And she begins to drive away, sitting on her motorbike. But she faces an accident with a car on the way. So she is fatally injured. Her best friend is grieved, witnessing it. She gets very upset and brings her into the hospital. Rose had received the deep wounds. Her whole body was bandaged. She restored her senses after a week. When the bandage is removed from her face, they witness that her face is distorted. And it is also incredible for Rose to believe after witnessing it. What has she faced? Rose's friend brings her into her house. She says, of course. You have been sick and senseless for many days. So our office head has replaced your seat with another employee. Later we see that Rose is in a room alone. Looking into the mirror, she starts crying. She says, I will find out the remedy at any cost, so my face gets recover and look like before. Now she begins to value her previous face which was taunted by everyone. She come to know about a health center after searching on the internet. Whose members can recover all injuries. She shares it with her friend. In the next scene we see that Rose and her friend reach the health center. Rose is feeling nervous. And she avoids being treated. Meanwhile, her friend encourages her, and asks her not to be afraid of anything. She asks her to relax and everything will be alright. Rose agrees on the explanation of her friend. Now the next day is shown when there was Rose's operation. All doctors are shown wearing the red surgical gowns in the operation theater. He brings a substance resembling jelly. That a substance resembling jelly is also stirring. It was appearing as it has life. Rose comes to her house after the surgery. Waking up at night, she begins to remove her bandages. Her face had completely recovered. Rose is contented, seeing it. She does not believe in her eyes, she starts touching her face. Now she had become more attractive. But she faced some physical changes and she was developing an unquenchable appetite. Coming out of her room, Rose moves downstairs. Where she bites a man in the swimming pool. Next day we see her going to the doctor who had performed her surgery. She says to the doctor that I am not getting the point that, why did I bite a man last night? Then doctor says, that she should not worry about anything. You are just fantasizing. You are just imagining the things. Take your medication properly. Just observe, you will be recovered soon. But Rose does not think as those were her imaginations. Anyhow, she overlooks it and says to the doctor, I am also feeling an uncontrollable appetite. Then doctor says to her, take that liquid which I have given you in red bottle. It will affect your appetite. These are the side effects after the surgery. Doctor also advises her, that not to get stress and do not panic. Rose also understands, thinking I should not be stressful. Because she was extremely happy for her beauty. Coming to house, she tells her friend and shows her face. Her friend does also not believe, seeing her. That Rose has become so attractive. Now the confidence had started to develop in her. Because no one can make fun of her anymore. She connects with her office again. And she begins to make her dress designs. Her manager had glimpsed her when she had visited club along with her friend. Where he had offered her, you can join the services again if you are willing. Because she used to give a more attractive look. Her personality was more appealing. She likes a boy in the club, but she also kills him. She is in her room, waking up in the next morning. Her hands are neither blood-stained nor any dead body is glimpsed in her surroundings. Nor she is in the club. She thinks that doctor had said rightly that, "These are my hallucinations." She begins to take her medication. Next day, the same boy comes on the scene who had been bitten by Rose. He was not dead. It seemed as if he had been infected. Later we see that he gets in an argument with someone. He becomes too aggressive that he bites the mouth of that person. His mouth is blood-stained. Now it is seen that Rose is performing her job. At the same time, she begins to feel appetite. Rose gets up to take her medication. But she does not receive any good effect by the medicine. Because her uncontrollable appetite had developed. Opening the refrigerator, she sees the raw meat. She tastes it. And her appetite is not quenched even after eating it. Rose does not know what she should do. Coming out of her house, she witnesses a man seated in a car. Rose starts following him. Then she gets in his car. They start talking with each other. But Rose had another pursuit behind it. She was not getting control over her appetite. So she bites that man's neck. Then it is observed that next morning, she wakes up again in her bedroom in a stable condition. Neither her mouth nor her body are blood-stained. She was feeling all awkward. And she is not believing that how these hallucinations may have the authenticity. She thinks, I will again consult the doctor, going there. On the other side, it is witnessed in the hospital that man who had bitten another man, he has become so savage. He begins to attack on a caretaker there. And it victimizes her fingers. And their habits were changing like the supernatural beings. It was like a virus which was spreading by biting. Rose says to her doctor, going there, that I am facing the great fanatical state. Her doctor says, no matter how great this is. I told you, it is a side effect. Rose returns from there. Next morning, she shows her created cloth designing to her head. Then her head says, marvelous. You have done a great job. And she had really created very commendable cloth designing. In the next scene, the view of hospital is shown. Where this infection is spreading very fastly. Doctors were not able to understand anything, examining the condition of the patients. Is it virus or the other thing? Which is turning everyone savage. And those patients feel the need to eat the raw meat. Then it is seen that Brad comes to Rose. He says to her, pardon me. I hurt you. They both visit the restaurant together. Rose feels strangely when she is talking with Brad. As she is again wanting to bite him. Being confused, she moves to the lavatory. She checks her mouth while opening it. She is left surprised what she witnesses. That more teeth were growing in her mouth. Her mouth was also blood-stained. She leaves that place after being worried. Then that man approaches there who had been bitten in the car by Rose. He attacks Rose. On the opposite side, it is noticed that hospital's circumstances are getting more worse. The patients were increasing. And the doctors were not getting ability to diagnose their condition. But after searching, they know that this virus spreads while biting others. People are under its effect enough that they are not in their senses. As whom they are biting. They are unable to control their appetite. In this way, Rose falls on the ground, feeling appetite. A person goes to help Rose as he sees her. But Rose kills him with a tentacle, generating from her body. Then Rose fantasizes that a lady has been seated on a bed. And there are many caretakers around her. Who are masking her face with the red cloth. And her face is distorted and strange. Then Rose again wakes up. She was feeling awkwardly. She was again feeling appetite which was uncontrolled by her. She goes to take that bottle of medicine given by the doctor. Saying, take it when you feel hungry. Rose stops to check it. It is not a syrup or medicine but the thick human blood. Then Rose goes to her office. She prepares the same red dress which she dreamt. Then she displays this dress to her office head. Her head is inspired seeing this dress. He asks, from where did you catch this idea? He says, I will display it in a big show. Thanks that you made it. Now it is seen that show has started. But Rose's friend had still not reached there. She goes for her search and also receives the call of the doctor. He says to her, I need to meet you on urgent basis. But Rose does not go to meet that doctor, because it was the time of her created dress displaying in the show. Then she goes to see her friend. Meanwhile, her friend approaches there. She tells that the circumstances of the city are worse. Patients' numbering is increasing and there was also the blockage of the traffic. I have reached here from a different route. I encountered a lady there. Who bit my hand. What should I do now? The matter of the fact was this, as she was also infected now. Because a lady who had bitten her would be surely like a supernatural being. Meanwhile, it is noticed that Rose begins to feel appetite again here. and she falls on the ground. Two persons pass beside her. They move forward to help her. But Rose becomes aggressive for no cause and she generates her tentacles. And she kills both of those people, attacking with tentacles. Noticing it, Brad goes away, lifting her. He says to her, "You may go to your doctor." But she refuses. Because the show was going to be started. Now it is observed that dresses of their designers are displayed. Then there is turn of the designed dress of Rose. Her friend comes on the stage wearing it. Her designed dress was looking different. But her friend becomes violent in anger while walking and she bites a lady. Then she also bites her head while preceding him. After this, Rose's friend falls down there. Then that man appears who was attacked with the tentacle by Rose. Now he was also thirsty for blood now. Meat was also the necessity of him. Moving to her friend, Rose begins to weep. Because police officers were also targeting the infected people, approaching there. But her best friend becomes the victim here. Brad forcefully brings her to her doctor. But Rose is crying bitterly. She is considering herself responsible behind all this. It is me through whom the virus spread. That doctor locks Brad into a room and tells that, "You were thinking as Brad is your friend. I had selected him to keep an eye on you." Brad tells, "Yeah. This doctor is speaking truth. I was keeping an eye on you. But believe me, if it is truth on one side, contrarily, it is also truth that my heart developed feelings no matter how I came here to notice you. I befriended you honestly. Never doubt it." But Rose starts crying. She does not believe on this fact that she had been deceived greatly. She infuriates Brad after hearing it. Hearing it, doctor throws much quantity of blood on the face of Brad. Rose witnesses a creature in another room, which was resembling human being. Actually, she was half human. Doctor tells, "She is my wife." She had known that she is going to die, so she offered her body to some creature. She was suffering from the cancer disease, so she wanted to get relief from her pain. That animal creature was mighty, so her cancer disease became permanent, which cannot be cured. This is the cause, she looks like it. Rose is still full of wrath. Brad. In aggression, she kills Brad, generating her tentacles. Taking out her knife, she begins to cut the tentacles of Doctor's wife. So Doctor's wife starts to die. Doctor cannot take any action because he is out of room. Then Rose also cuts her throat with the same knife. So the virus may not spread outside. In the end we see that the doctor is creating something next day. He is blending the blood in a mixer grinder. There are also some tentacles, lying beside. He brings these both things for Rose. It is seen that Rose was alive, not dead. Because she had also got the cancer cell which were everlasting. Now she cannot lose her breath in spite of her will. It was sorrowful conclusion which had become the torment for Rose. And that doctor was very happy while tormenting Rose. It seemed as if he himself is a psychotic patient. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.